Hey guys, I just wanted to check in with you ladies, especially as we prepare for 2020. I have been meeting with a lot of women these past few weeks, especially in relation to the speaker mentorship program. And one of the things that I've recognized is that for many of the ladies, there seem to be these obstacles that are in their way that is preventing them from accomplishing the dreams that they would like to accomplish. For example, one of the biggest ones that I come across is the issue of women actually believing that they are able to achieve what they desire to achieve. That is in terms of possibilities. So for many, what they see when they think about how they want to bring their dreams to life is about these obstacles, the things that are in my way. And so one of the things I want to share with you, one of the points I want to share with you is that instead of thinking of the obstacles, think of the possibilities. Begin to visualize in your mind what it is you want to accomplish instead of looking at the obstacles. Because if you look at the obstacles, that's what you're visualizing, that's what you're focusing your energies on, and that is what you are going to experience. And so sometimes, ladies would say to me, I really want to do this thing, but I do not have the money to make it happen. And that right there is your statement about your situation. You just said it. I do not have the money to make this happen. And because you said it, you will not have the money to make it happen. I can tell you that there were so many times in my life, in my own experience, there were things I needed to do. Even like, for example, when I went to college to do my undergrad studies and my master's, PhD, everything. There was never any money there. I never had any funds in any account. I didn't have any loan. I didn't have any scholarship. I didn't have anybody guaranteeing anything for me. I didn't have anything to make possible what I desired to do. And yet, that did not prevent me from accomplishing all that I've been able to do. And so sometimes we create these obstacles, and so we experience exactly what we have articulated, because even the Bible says that as a man thinketh, we think things, we speak it, you understand, and words have power. We see the example from even God in creation where he spoke things into existence. And so God has given us the power. We are created in his image to speak life. He said life and death lies in the power of the tongue. And so I try to share, and I'm encouraging you ladies, do not say things that you do not want to experience. Look for ways of reframing your language and what it is you're thinking and what it is you're saying, because sometimes you are defeated by your own thoughts and your own words. And so as you go into 2020, these are things that you will need to begin to practice right now in terms of reframing your language, in terms of reframing your thought process, so that you could have better experiences in the new year. And so I knew that I never had anything in place to get anything done, but one of the things that I recognized was the power of thought, the power of faith in believing that God is able to do anything. And if God has called me to something, then that same God can provide and sustain me. And that is where things deviated for me quite a bit in a comparison to some of my friends whom I know who had desires to do certain things, didn't have the funds just like me, but just did not have the faith, not just the belief, but the action to go with it, and to just step out believing that God was going to sustain them. And so that's part of what makes the difference between somebody who is ready and somebody who's not. Because if you really desire to do anything, you will begin to not think of obstacles, but you now begin to think of possibilities. What can I do to ensure that that dream that God has placed in me, that dream can come to life? One of the other challenges that I come across with when I'm speaking to women is the issue of resistance. Many of them would say, my husband, I need to talk to him. I need to speak, share this or whatever. And I understand that we sometimes have to relay things to our partners, to our husbands, and so on. But one of the challenges that many women have is that they allow their dreams to stop right at that place where if my husband disagrees or my partner disagrees with that desire that I have in my heart that I believe is by God, then my dreams stop there. But the power of a woman, and that woman is recognizing, and one of the things I recognize in my own experience is that men will most times resist until they see results. So they may resist your ideas, they may resist, the way you may want to execute the idea, the investment you may want to make in the idea until they see the results. And that is where you need to just continue to get that strength and power from God. Spend time in prayer so that you can be able to either articulate that dream in the way that God has given it to you with your spouse, or work on it and pray that the Lord allows your spouse to see the vision that God has placed in your heart. But do not allow your dreams to stop because it was resisted. Many women are living lives that are unfulfilled, and they had all of these big and great dreams, and they never were able to bring these dreams to life because they got resistance. And for me, resistance is really the wings on which I fly. I'm not allowing, and I've never allowed anything to prevent me from doing what I believe within myself that God has called me to do. And so my encouragement to you is not look at the resistance, look at how you can begin to work to bring results. And if you really desire to have the support of your spouse and so on, and sometimes you may have it, sometimes you may not, but the goal is to find out, how can I bring to life what God has placed in me? Because God has called each of us for a special work. There is a unique work for every single one of us to do, and our job is to live it out. Because one of the things I remember last year, I was presenting to a group of women in Mombasa, that's in Kenya. And while I was speaking to them that morning, it had not crossed my mind before. But what I said to them was, one of these days, every single one of us, women, will have to give an account to God for why we did not use the gifts that He has given us. And we cannot tell Him it's because my husband resisted. We cannot tell Him it's because my church organization did not support women doing the work. We cannot tell Him my society did not approve of women in particular roles, or my job did not allow women to take up certain positions. We all have a responsibility to use the gifts that God has given us to accomplish the task for which He has called us, because every single one of us have been called. Every single one of us have a unique work for us to do. And so my encouragement for you is to continue to press on in seeking your true purpose, getting your wisdom from God to ensure that you are aligned with what He has called you to do, and also gives you the wisdom to know how to execute it so that you can live your wow life while you are impacting lives, while you are influencing people to discover their true purpose. Also, you are helping people to dream, you are helping people to recognize that they too have been called for greatness. And that's really my encouragement for you, and I trust that you will go on that process, because until you're living the life that you're meant to live, you are not going to experience that great sense of fulfillment that you are desiring. You are going to be like a pregnant woman who has carried the child outside of the normal term, because you have not yet given birth. And until you give birth to that child, until you give birth to that purpose, until you give birth to that ministry, to that brand, to that business, you are going to be feeling stuffed. You are not going to be comfortable. You are going to be experiencing a lot of discomfort, because you have not given birth to what it is you've been called to give birth to. And so I encourage you to go through that process and be blessed, because it's time for you to live your wow life now. Bye-bye.